Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast. Thank you for joining me as I head back into the rich poetry found in Tolkien's epic poem, The Lay of Lúthien. Now, last week we started Canto 9 and met the goodest boy ever to fetch, the mighty Huon. Today we finish Canto 9 as Celegorm has plans for Lúthien, and Huon speaks for the first time. Now, when we last left, Celegorm was basically asking her who she was, and that's where we pick up. "'Tis Lúthien of Doriath," the maiden spake, "a wandering path far from the wood elves' sunny glades," she sadly winds, "where courage fades and hope grows faint." And as she spoke, cast she aside her shadowy cloak, and there she stood in silver and white. Her starry jewels twinkled bright in the risen sun like morning dew. The lily's gold on mantle blue gleamed and glistened. Who could gaze on that fair face without amaze? Long did Celegorm look and stare. The perfume of her flower-twined hair, her lissom limbs, her elvish face smote to his heart, and in that place enchained he stood. "O maiden royal, O lady fair, wherefore in toil and lonely journey dost thou go? What tidings dread of war and woe in Doriath have betide? Come, tell, for fortune thee hath guided well. Friends thou hast found," said Celegorm, and gazed upon her elvish form. In his heart him thought her tale unsaid, he knew in part, but naught she read of guile upon his smiling face. "Who are ye then, the lordly chase, that follow in this perilous wood?" she asked, and answer seeming good they gave. "Thy servants, lady sweet, lords of Nargothrond thee greet, and beg that thou wouldst with them go back to their hills, forgetting woe, a season, seeking hope and rest, and now to hear thy tale were best." So Lúthien tells of Berin's deeds in northern lands, how fate him leads to Doriath, of Thingol's ire, the dreadful errand that her sire decreed for Berin. Sign nor word the brothers gave that aught they heard that touched them near. Of her escape and the marvelous mantle she did shape, she lightly tells, but words her fail, recalling sunlight in the vale, moonlight, starlight in Doriath, ere Berin took the perilous path. "Need, too, my lords, there is of haste, no time in ease and rest to waste. For days are gone now since the queen, Melian, whose heart hath vision keen, looking afar, me said in fear that Berin lived in bondage drear. The Lord of Wolves hath prisons dark, chains and enchantments cruel and stark, and there entrapped and languishing doth Berin lie, if direr thing hath not brought death, or wish for death. Then gasping woe bereft her breath." To Celegorm said Curufin apart and low, "Now news we win of Felagund, and now we know why Sauron's creatures prowling go." And other whispered counsels spake, and showed him what answer he should make. "Lady," said Celegorm, "thou seest we go a-hunting roaming beast, and though our host is great and bold, 'tis ill prepared the wizards hold an island fortress to assault. Deem not our hearts or wills at fault. Lo, here our chase we now forsake, and home our swiftest road we take, counsel and aid there to devise for Berin that in anguish lies." To Nargothrond they with them bore Lúthien, whose heart misgave her sore. Delay she feared, each moment pressed upon her spirit, yet she guessed they rode not as swiftly as they might. Ahead leaped Huon day and night, and ever looking back his thought was troubled, what his master sought, and why he rode not like the fire, why he looked with hot desire on Lúthien. He pondered deep, and felt some evil shadow creep of ancient curse or elveness. His heart was torn for the distress of Berin bold and Lúthien dear, and Felagund, who knew no fear. In Nargothrond the torches flared, and feast and music were prepared. Lúthien feasted not, but wept. Her ways were trammelled, closely kept, she might not fly. Her enchanted cloak was hidden, and no prayer she spoke was heeded, nor did answer find her eager questions. Out of mind, it seemed, were those afar that pined in anguish and in dungeons blind, in prison and in misery. Too late she knew their treachery. It was not hid in Nargothrond that Feanor's sons her held in bond. They did not Berin think upon, nor had cause to rest from Sauron, the king they loved not, and whose quest old vows of hatred in their breasts had roused from sleep. Orodreth knew their purpose dark they would pursue, King Felagund to leave to die, and with King Thingol's blood ally, the house of Feanor by force of treaty. But to stay their course he had no power, for all his folk the brothers had yet beneath their yoke, and all yet listened to their word. Orodreth's counsel no man heard. Their shame they crushed, and would not heed the tale of Felagund's dire need. At Lúthien's feet there day by day, and at night beside her couch would stay Huan, the hound of Nargothrond, and words she spoke to him soft and fond. "O Huan, Huan, swiftest hound that ever ran on mortal ground, what evil doth thy lords possess, to heed no tears nor my distress? Once Barahir all men above good hounds did cherish and did love. Once Baron in the friendless north, when outlaw wild he wandered forth, had friends unfailing among things, with fur and fell and feathered wings, and among the spirits that in stone and mountains old and wastes alone still dwell. But now not elf nor man, none save the child of Melian, remembers him whom Morgoth fought, and never to thraldom base was brought." Naught said Huan, but Celegorm and kin thereafter never near could win to Lúthien, nor touch that maid, but shrank from Huan's fangs afraid. Then on a night when autumn damp was swathed about the glimmering lamp of the wan moon, and fitful stars were flying seen between the bars of racing cloud, when winter's horn already wound in trees forlorn, lo, Huan was gone. Then Lúthien lay, fearing new wrong, till just ere day, when all is dead and breathless still, and shapeless fears the sleepless fill, a shadow came along the wall. Then something let there softly fall her enchanted cloak beside her couch. Trembling, she saw the great hound crouch beside her, heard a deep voice swell as from a tower, a far slow bell. Thus Huan spake, who never before had uttered words, and but twice more did speak in elven tongue again. "Lady beloved, whom all men, whom elveness, and whom all things with fur and fell and feathered wings should serve and love, arise, away! Put on thy cloak before the day comes over Nargothrond. We fly to northern perils, thou and I." And ere he ceased, he counsel wrought for achievement of the thing they sought. There Lúthien listened in amaze, and softly on Huan did she gaze. Her arms about his neck she cast, in friendship that to death should last. I'm already running long, so I'll keep my commentary to a bare minimum, but boy, how much do I not like Celegorm? About as much as I do like Huan. I mean, he is such a good boy. He is troubled by all this, right? He's wondering, why is my master looking with hot desire on this woman? Why isn't he going at full speed? I mean, you heard the story. Baron needs help. What are you doing, man? And of course, Huan was distressed to hear about fearless Finrod Felagund, too. So at the end, after being imprisoned by Celegorm, Lúthien was met by Huan, who spoke for the very first time. Let's get out of this place. Absolute boss dog. Love this guy. For now, though, folks, that is it for today's First Age Friday, but come back next week for more. We will eventually get back to Fandom Fridays, so if you know anybody who should join me here on a future Fandom Friday, let me know by emailing bartleman@theprancingponypodcast.com. Please visit patreon.com/TolkienTimes to learn how you can support the show and get an ad-free feed, a monthly hangout with me, bonus weekly episode, and more. And then join me again tomorrow on today's Tolkien Times as we wrap up this week with Silmarillion Saturday. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Please follow or subscribe in your podcast apps and follow @Tolkien Times on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.